Hello everyone. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome. Today, we're back on the Mon Ultimate. It's been a couple of months since I last streamed. We're immediately getting into qualifying here. So we are. But yeah, welcome. It's been a couple of months since the last stream. I wasn't expecting for it to be so long. Yeah, a couple of things happened. I was going to take a week off, just to enjoy a couple of races by myself off stream. But then I decided. Then I actually got an arm injury. Still not exactly sure what I did, but I hurt my right arm and was quite painful to drive. So I had to miss a week of races. And then, yeah, when it came to that season of, we also had the heat wave around that time as well, so some races got moved around, pushed back a week to not interfere, or to be a little, hopefully in better weather conditions for everyone competing. So I ended up deciding to just take a longer extended break. But we're back now. We have a 65-minute race of Silverstone coming up with 3 classes. We're in Hypercar class with the Genesis Hypercar. We've got the WC LMP2s. And as well as the GT3s. 44 car field to get us going again. Standard fuel, standard tire wear. So it should be hopefully a good race. Now we've invalidated this lap that we're on already, but we have a 15-minute session. We do have tire warmers on. So we have plenty of time to get a lap in. So as we come around left field, start what will hopefully be our first valid flying lap. Let me talk you through a lap here. Towards Cup's corner then. Braking about the final board. Try and carry good speed 3, get on the power as hard as you can. Don't run wide on the exit. You'll immediately pick up the track limits as we did last lap. Into my gets and Beckett's. Down 1 gear for the first right-hander to 5th. Down another gear for the next left. And down to 3rd for the final long right-hander of Beckett's. Pick up the power as soon as you dare. You'll carry all that speed out through Chapel onto the hanger straight. Was a little bit of a messy end to the sequence there for myself. Then braking for Stowe Corner, swing the car in, try and pick up the throttle. The car will help you to rotate. Don't run wide on the exit then. Pick your braking point for the Vale chicane. Down first gear, you can use quite a bit of the inside curb. You want to try and open up the second part. Maybe upshift to 2nd for the exit of the Vale chicane. Hold it flat through Cup's corner. The car will slide a little bit, so just be careful. Then towards Abbey, down 1 gear to 5th, carry the speed through, pick up the throttle once again, flat out through Farm, and then strain the car out heavy on the brakes for the loop. Down 2nd gear for this, Pick the throttle up gradually as you turn through the exit, then into the loop. Right tight left-hander. Won't get a good exit as your flat-out 3 entry onto the Wellington straight this time. Braking just after the curb on the right-hand side. For Bricklands, late apex as the corner tightens up. Then up to third very briefly, then back down to first. We're veering off left field here quite a bit. Try and get a good exit, carry the momentum on to our next flying lap. As we go on to one, it's 44.2 for first flying lap. I'm pretty sure we have more time in it. That's P2 currently, after our first valid flying lap. See, they're gaining a bit of time out of Beckett's, just being a bit tidier. Slightly better through the Vale chicane as well. Much better through the loop, picked up a couple of tenths, just getting much closer to the apex. Picking a couple more tenths up through Bricklands left field. It's a 4/10 improvement. We'll take the shortest run to line for an extra 100th. And we'll be just 300ths off of pole position currently. That's a good run. We'll return to the garage. Put a bit more fuel in, new tires, and we'll get going again. Bankrig's improved. By 1/10 and a half, let's say. Just putting that benchmark even further back. We've got just over half a second to Dave Wood behind us. And further, nearly 4/10 further back is the car in P4. We are 9/10 ahead of them. So main reason, so a couple of reasons why we're splitting this qualifying into two. Not something we typically do in LMU, but first of all, we do have tire warmers. So it only really takes a lap or two to get the tire to the operating, to the optimum temperature, or the temperature that you're going to be running it at through the stint. There are some tires like the LMP2 tire can still, even with tire warmers, can still take a few laps to really get it where you want it to. But the Hypercar tire here, not being quite as bad in that regard. Secondly, Silverstone here, the tire wear is really bad. And we'll see that in the race. You'd think it was on 2x tire wear with how bad the tire wear is. But it is standard 1x. Seeing improvements from other drivers. A little bit slower after the first sector as we head towards Stowe Corner. could have had better minimum speed. A little bit too early for the loop. Being fairly consistent through Cubs corner. Not getting the rotation through Beckett's as I've been for. So yeah, might as well take it a bit easy for this lap. Try not to hurt the tires too much, but still want to push a bit just to keep the temperature in the tires. We're going to get 2 more laps in. I didn't carry enough speed through T1. Not bad run through Maggots and Beckett's, but I've still lost a 10th from first turn. Deep into Brooklands. One final lap then. loop is definitely my most inconsistent corner. Nah, I've pushed too hard into left field. Might as well practice pit entry. We'll be needing to do one in the race. So 3/10 off pole. By a 1/10.5 to the next car behind us. Should be an interesting race. We've got 5 different cars in the top 5. That's good to see. So a good bit of variety. The first sort of double up is two Cadillacs. And then, yeah, so in the top 10, there's 8 different cars. So, yeah, some great variety. P2s. 4/10 gap for pole there. I have 12 of them in the field, and then the GT3s. Oh, look at that, 14 thousandths between the first two in GT3s. 43 cars here this evening.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a
16
race start.
GT3s, 12 P2s, 15 hypercars. Obviously, we'll put a new set of tires on. We'll go fill up on energy. Make sure I'm happy with those parts. Oh, we're seeing a hard tire for the front left. I'm not too surprised by that. I was considering it myself. But while the tire wear is really high around Silverstone, the actual temperatures, the front left was only, 85 there. Whereas it's really got to be like 90 plus, I think, for the hard tire to be a better tire. And you'd be looking then at the difference between single stinting and double stinting a tire. Yeah, before we get going, just go bring this V down to where it should be if we were to do the full opening stint.
Formation lap has started.
Don't feel the need to do any brake warming. We don't have big braking zones in the start of the lap here at Silverstone. And I'd rather save the VE to help go the distance in the race.
Green flag, green flag.
Oh, a little bit of contact from the row behind us. Very tight start here to the race. Oh, car behind had an issue. Yeah, and the second row of the grid has disappeared. unfortunately for them. Oh, if you, the hard tire runner behind us. It's going to need an extra, going to need a lap or two to really get that hard tire where they want it to be. But, you know, maybe come the end of the race, it should be, might be a bit advantageous for them in the, you know, after the pit stop, perhaps. Look how many blue and red cars on the track map are behind the GT3s. Just try and take things easy. Oh, there goes the second Cadillac. With the hard tire. Already seeming like a race of attrition. So yeah, just trying to settle into a room rhythm at the moment, rather than chasing after the car in front. Yeah, our pace is pretty good compared to the cars behind. Fuel usage is more than good. First lap car not too far ahead. Looks to be a hypercar that's had a lot of strife. Car's just oddly disappearing in front. I thought it was a connection thing for a moment, but the cars were still displayed on the track map. Hypercar staying well out of the way. Car behind's picked up a bit of pace. 4.6 second gap to them. The field has spread a little bit behind through various instants. So settling into this race really nicely at the moment. That was definitely a connection issue that time. BMW spinning around in front of us. And then Ben seemingly turning to the right in a left-hander. Not too far away from the GT3 field. That's where the race really starts to get interesting. Nice and easy on the Porsche there. Two cars in front might be a bit more difficult. It's going to be awkward timing for them. Just missed time when the Corvette was going on the throttle. Yeah, that cost me a lot of time. half a point for being slightly over. Don't know what that Porsche was very tight on the exit. Had to wait for the yellow flag to clear, which wasn't ideal. Could have been worse. Again, this might be awkward timing at Bricklands. We'll get the Mustang, but it's the car ahead I'm worried about. Yeah, we were close enough for a move, which is nice. Didn't lose too much time. Only 5 more GT3s to go on this passive lapping. Rear end started a slide there as we were on the curb through the left-hander. Just have to wait patiently there. I maybe could have sent that, but it would have been a very brave move. Did not expect the Porsche to come that far out. But it got through, wasn't too bad. Porsche made its intentions clear going for the inside there. We're 15 minutes into the race and the front left is already at 89%. And I've been trying not to push too hard on it. Turning down the motor map just to start to use a little bit more of the fuel. As battery is around a third full now. so we can charge it up a little bit over the next number of laps. Didn't quite get to that final apex. Felt a bit of understeer there, 3 stow. There is an argument to be made of taking your pit stop early and changing left-hand side tires. With how much tire the left-hand side suffer with, it costs 5 seconds to change them, and because of tire warmers, you wouldn't lose any more than a second getting them up to temperature on track. It's getting a little framing. A little bit of traffic. That was cheeky. Having to brake late to complete the move on that P2. They're not too far off cornering performance to the hypercars around here. And it's, not even the ELMS spec, which would be even quicker. That is lag, but I'm not convinced it is. I think it might be the culling that was added to the game not too long ago, because even in some single player practice and getting the thumbnails, as having cars as like, there's a car there in front of me, I can see it on the track map, but I couldn't see it physically in front of me, and then at some point it magically appeared before my eyes, popping into existence, and it's like, yeah, that's not a great look. So I don't know if it's a track-specific thing, or if maybe it got tweaked a bit with the 1.4 update, and it needs some more refinement, or needs reverted. It's a bit too aggressive, perhaps. I'm just turning up my fan if you hear those beeps. It is getting quite warm. Invalid lap for Ben Crick in front. Look at that, everything just disappearing. That must be an online thing. Could get held up by this Porsche here. Sorry, Corvette. So it might be a 37 lap race, might be a 38 lap race, sorry. Really depends on the pace, how bad the traffic is, all that sort of stuff. Also just remembered, of course, with the 1.4 update, there was the change in netcode. TCP was changed to UDP. And they said there'd be some teething issues. So maybe that's what we're seeing on display here. "41 minutes of the race still to go, so we're about a third of the way through. Ten-second gap now to the car behind. We're closing up on Ben and we're using less VE than him. Another lag moment. Quite bad on that time. Which is a bit concerning, in all honesty. Sorry, Mustang. Oh dear. That's not the time for that to be happening, as that's a sketchy situation. I'm glad I lifted. I was really contemplating trying for a move there, but I knew it'd be difficult on the P2. Wasn't ideal. This isn't going to be ideal. Oh, Fry's getting held up. Really just got that P2 at a real opportune time. I maybe could have kept my foot in it, but that would have been a risky move and a really aggressive move, and I'm not that aggressive. I don't like being that aggressive. Too much risk of just ruining both of our races. Strike limits. Just 0.25. These connection issues are getting quite annoying. That's another bad moment. That's certainly an interesting moment. That's scary. Yeah, another slightly wide there. Turn the motor back up as we're nearing 90% on the battery. clipped the gravel there. I'm pretty sure I still had a wheel within track limits, but it's going to give me a point anyway. Which I think is a little bit unfair. It's looking like it'll be a 37 lap race. That'll be a track limit for Ben there. Yeah, that's helped me up a bit. And track limits for good measures. There goes Ben, 1.5 second gap again. There goes the server, playing funny buggers again. That was cheeky, right the outside of the Ferrari. I got less 3, which I appreciate. Apex, please, Porsche. That cost me an extra half a second for no reason. Might think you're trying to be kind, but in reality you just look like an asshole. Doing no one any favors. going to be a track limit. Oh, it's not. Surprised. That's the little adjustment they did for this update to the track limits. And we've been kind of seeing it all race. We have, you know, typically if you run slightly wide on the exit cops, you're looking at 0.5 minimum. Usually it's 0.75 or even a full point, just for being ever so slightly wide. Whereas, you know, this race, we've actually been seeing reasonable values. You know, I used to get a bit frustrated with the value, with how the track limits were in this track. But this race, apart from one moment, I feel like it's been very fair. So yeah, unfortunately the traffic hasn't been too kind to us and dropped us from being on the rear bumper of Ben to nearly 3 seconds back. Thing is, our pace compared to Ben has been very, very similar. So it has been it's mainly been the traffic that's been deciding whether the gap is opening or closing up in this race. Like, this is a moment where it's going to come down to 1.5 seconds because Ben got held up behind these two GT3s. I've just blasted past them on a straight. Even got a little bit of slipstream. Wasn't the cleanest move, that. But it's always a little sketchy, that move. You know, just because the GT3's washing up a bit. And then you're breaking off the racing line. So you gotta be careful not to overdo it. Get held up by this GT3. I put a lot of trust in the hypercar to let me through there. I'm so glad they did. That was awkward. think that GT3 was going for a spin anyway. But then as around the spoiler, it's like so difficult to avoid it. So we got 6 laps of energy remaining. So we're gonna have 7 laps. Don't get much respite right here at Silverstone. There are a couple of straights, but in these hypercars, they're not that long, so they're not. Can you not leave when I'm about to pass you, please? Thank you. Here's that Lexus again. Give them plenty of room and they still managed to hit me. That's a late move. Even made me a little uncomfortable. Did not expect to make a move like that on a P2 this race. Yeah, that moment with Lexus is really dropped us back. Maybe Ben's pushing a little bit more. Maybe he's seen the difference in VE. And just wants to get himself further up the road. And the damage might be hindering us a little bit on the front bumper. Should have lifted there. Gap's up to 5 seconds now. I don't know if it's entirely traffic. Or if he does have a bit of natural pace. It's hard to say when we're both getting so much traffic. He's into the pits. He's gone early, interestingly. Which is a bit of a surprise. You look after this GT3 car. And, you know, like the next one's at Field Chicane. And that's one, and then there's a couple of LMP2s I'm never going to catch before I pit. It's going to be a personal best lap too. So the pace is still there. No cars have come out of the pits in front of us. It's going to be 7 laps remaining. Just have to get the pit entry right. That wasn't too bad. Could have been a little bit more aggressive, but wasn't worth the risk. Oh. There's a chance here. It's a slim chance, but there's a chance. That's a little long in the box, which isn't ideal. There he is. That was a lift. He's let me go. I mean, an overtake shouldn't be too difficult for him. You're being risky sticking that nose in. Because I do have to hit a field number. He doesn't. Oh, he's got a DT. It doesn't matter. Ten minutes to go in the race. I was never going to fight it too hard, so I wasn't. I thought he's just giving me some space. He's not running as deep as I thought he would. I'll have a wee go. Then I think he's saying that I wasn't initially going for it. It's like, oh, I can go for the apex here, but then I did keep the nose in. Ben had a little twitch there, so he did. Nearly pushing Ben out of the Veil chicane there. Ben sleeping there. So he was leaving the inside so open while stuck behind a GT3. And he'll peel into the pits now to serve that drive-through. Now we've just got to make sure we get to the end of the race, which we should be able to do quite easily. That GT3 wasn't looking in its mirrors there. Well, or it looked very last second, so it did. Three laps to go, we're looking good on energy and fuel. Just had to take a little lift there for the gap to open up. Negative on the Delta. That's a surprise in the second stint. You think with the tyre wear at this stage, that wouldn't be possible. Why are you fighting that? You're a blue flag car. Two laps to go. greatest line through Maggots and Beckett's. A little wide on the left-hander, compromising the line into the right-hander. And, you know, that just compromises the exit speed all the way up to Stowe here. Could have carried a little more speed into Stowe there. I love the way you push it says, oh yeah, I'll use 2 laps worth of energy. Final lap. I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll go for fastest lap. But we're going to get traffic here into Maggots and Beckett's, or 3 Maggots and Beckett's, I should say. Rear end had a little slide there off the left-hand side curb. Still time for one last lag moment from the server. Corner there somewhere. Traction could, oh, I have to go the other way. I'm not going to risk using more VE than I actually have because I don't know if you do get a penalty. I just don't want to risk it. You probably don't, but I am not risking it. That was a good race. I enjoyed that. There wasn't too much action. It was very much like, ooh, you know, just on the thing of the gaps there. It's like, you know, there could be a battle, especially with the VE difference. You know, things started to open up, you know, before the pit stop that started to make it look like it wasn't going to happen. And then, yeah, and then when Ben pitted, you know, the traffic just disappeared to like personal best laps before pitting, and yeah, that meant side by side on pit exit. I do think he let me have the space, the position to begin with. Yeah, and then, yeah, he was going to get me because he could run flat out into every braking zone, whereas having to take my lift and coasts to hit the fuel number. Oh, look at that. 2/10 gap for the winning P2. Oh, that's great. Oh, you'll love to see that. What was it? 13.1. Keith, who was sitting third when we passed him. Yeah, strategy there. Ben Brown only third. He was leading at the early parts, so yeah, I wonder if he had issues. Ben was saying he got like a load of penalties for passing me while I was in the pits. Huh, that was odd. Yeah, that seemed a bit of a game bug, which is a shame. Um, I mean, even if he didn't have the drive-through, okay, yeah, we did get back past with the traffic and a bit of a lunge, yeah, which was a nice move. But I don't. I think he would have got back past. Every braking zone he was coming. He was like there, and it's like if he wanted to make the move, he could. He could send it. Um. So yeah. Well, yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, not a lot of side by side action, but a fun race. Just like hey, we're so close. Every decision in traffic mattered, and it was so fun for that in that regard. So fun. Um, yeah. So yeah, thank you to those that came and lurked in the stream. Hope you enjoyed the return after 2 months. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. If you're watching the VOD back, yeah, hope you enjoyed. I'll be back. Won't be back again this week, but we'll be back again next week on Tuesday for a new Asao Corsa series. We're running Formula 4 cars, so we are. We're going to be at Interlagos for the first round. It's 2 races, a sprint race and a feature race. It should be it should hopefully be a good series. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, and then also towards the end of the month, we have a couple of the SROL WC races in the Genesis that we're racing here. We've got the rescheduled Interlagos round after the server issues for the initial one, and then the week after it's Coda, so they should be some good races hopefully. But yeah, thank you to those popping in, lurking throughout stream or watching the VOD back. Hope you all enjoyed. Until next Tuesday, have a good week, have a good weekend, and a good start to your next week. Take care, everyone. I will see you next time. Bye bye.